Have you ever felt overwhelmed by things beyond your control? Do you sometimes wish you could remain calm, even when life feels like it's spinning out of control? What if I told you that there's a way to face chaos, stress, and setbacks with unshakable peace? If you're seeking clarity, strength, and calm in today's turbulent world, you're in the right place. But before we dive in, make sure to like, share, and subscribe to this channel. It helps us bring more meaningful content to you, and it lets us know that this message matters. Now, let's explore the powerful wisdom of Stoicism and learn how to stay calm, no matter what life throws your way. 1. Control the controllable. The Stoics taught a simple yet profound truth. You can't control everything, but you can control how you respond. At first glance, this might seem like common sense, but how often do we actually live by it? The reality is, most of our stress and suffering come not from events themselves, but from our resistance to them, from our desire to control what simply cannot be controlled. Imagine trying to stop the wind from blowing or demanding the sun not rise tomorrow. That's how absurd it is to try and manage other people's opinions, the passage of time, or random outcomes. Yet we do it every day. We obsess over whether someone likes us, ruminate on past mistakes, or worry endlessly about the future. The Stoics, particularly Epictetus, were clear. Some things are up to us and some things are not. This is a cornerstone of Stoic philosophy. Epictetus called these internals and externals. Internals are our thoughts, our judgments, our actions, and our values. Externals are everything else: the traffic, the economy, the behavior of others, our reputation, even our own bodies to an extent. To live well, we must draw a firm line between what is in our control and what is not. But more than just recognizing this line, we must live by it. That means if something lies outside your control, you let it go, not because you don't care, but because it doesn't belong to you. It's not your responsibility. This mindset doesn't lead to passivity. On the contrary, it creates freedom. When you stop wasting energy on what you can't control, you can pour that energy into what you can. Your response, your effort, your attitude, that's where your power lives. Let's say you're giving a presentation. You can't control whether everyone will like it. You can't even control if the technology glitches. But you can control your preparation, your composure, and how you handle setbacks. That's your domain. This idea isn't just for big life events. It applies to small, daily annoyances too. The barista messes up your order. Someone cuts you off in traffic. A coworker snaps at you. These things are not under your control, but your reaction is. Do you respond with anger or with calm? Do you escalate the situation or let it pass like a breeze? When you start to internalize this principle, life gets quieter, lighter, not because the chaos outside has stopped, but because you've stopped trying to control the uncontrollable. This mental clarity also strengthens resilience. When things go wrong, and they will, you'll already be prepared. You won't be caught off guard because you'll have rehearsed this mindset. This is outside of me. I don't own it. I don't need to suffer because of it. The beauty of controlling the controllable is that it doesn't require a perfect life to feel peace. You don't have to wait until people agree with you or until your circumstances are ideal. You can have peace right now because it's based on how you choose to engage with life, not what life gives you. Marcus Aurelius, the Roman emperor and Stoic philosopher, put it beautifully. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. In that sentence lies the entire spirit of Stoicism. It's not about controlling the world. It's about mastering your inner world. So, take a moment. Ask yourself, what in my life am I trying to control that isn't mine to hold? And then ask, what is within my control that I've been neglecting? This shift, though simple, can transform your life. Control the controllable. Let go of the rest. That is the path to true power and true peace. 2. Self-discipline is self-respect. We often talk about self-discipline like it's a harsh, punishing force, something joyless, something we do only when we must, like going to the gym on a cold morning or skipping dessert when we want to indulge. But the Stoics saw it differently. To them, discipline wasn't suffering. It was freedom. It was love. It was self-respect in action. Discipline is how you show up for yourself, even when no one's watching. It's how you build a life that reflects your values rather than your moods. Because let's be honest, your feelings are fleeting. Some days you'll feel motivated. Most days you won't. If your life depends on motivation, it will be inconsistent at best. But if it depends on discipline, it becomes dependable. The Stoics prize discipline as one of the 4 cardinal virtues. Temperance. Temperance means moderation, balance, self-restraint. Not to deny joy, but to preserve it. To ensure that your pleasures don't become your prison. Think of discipline as a kind of inner compass. It keeps you aligned with what you've decided truly matters. Without it, you're blown around by impulse, by distraction, by whatever feels good in the moment. But with it, you can stay centered, grounded, whole. And this is where the respect comes in. When you choose discipline, you're saying, I matter enough to act in my best interest, even when it's hard. That's self-love at its highest level. Not indulgence, not self-soothing, but self-stewardship. Let's take an example. You're tempted to stay up late scrolling on your phone. Your body needs rest. Your goals require energy. In that moment, discipline says, go to bed. Not because it's easy, but because you care enough about your future to make a choice your tired self might not appreciate right away. Or maybe you're in the middle of a disagreement. Your ego wants to win, to snap back, to be right. But your values say, stay calm, speak with integrity. Discipline lets you take a breath instead of swing. And in doing so, you keep your peace and your dignity. In every moment, there's a fork in the road, comfort or character. Discipline helps you choose the latter. And over time, those small, quiet choices add up. They shape your life. They build a kind of internal wealth, a deep reservoir of trust in yourself. That's powerful. It's important to understand that discipline isn't about being rigid or joyless. The Stoics were not against pleasure. They simply believed it should be earned, not chased blindly. When you live with discipline, your pleasures become more meaningful. You savor your rewards because they're rooted in effort, not escapism. Discipline also reduces inner conflict. So many people live in tension between what they want to do and what they know they should do. That friction creates stress, shame, and a sense of being out of alignment. But when you develop discipline, your actions and your values start to match. That's where peace lives. Not in having everything you want, but in living in a way that feels true. Seneca wrote, no man is free who is a slave to his passions. Freedom isn't doing whatever you want whenever you want. Real freedom is the ability to master your impulses, to act with clarity instead of compulsion. That's what discipline gives you. So, how do you cultivate it? Start small. Make your bed. Keep your word. Follow through on the tiny commitments you make to yourself. Every time you do, you reinforce the message, I can count on me. And remember, discipline is not perfection. You will slip. You will falter. The key is not to judge yourself, but to return. Over and over again. Like training a muscle, it grows stronger with use. In the end, self-discipline is not just a tool. It's a reflection. It shows you what you value. It reveals who you're becoming. And when you practice it with kindness and consistency, you discover that calm isn't something you stumble upon. It's something you build brick by brick, with your actions, your choices, and your respect for yourself. 3. See challenges as teachers. Obstacles? The Stoics would say, they're not problems. They're opportunities in disguise. In fact, Marcus Aurelius wrote, the impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. These words form a foundation of Stoic resilience. The idea that life doesn't happen to you, it happens for you, especially when it's difficult. Every challenge you encounter, every setback you endure is a potential teacher. The lesson might not be obvious at first, and the discomfort might make you want to turn away. But if you lean in, if you pause and ask, what is this moment asking of me? What strength is it trying to build? You open the door to real growth. Think about your life. When did you grow the most? Was it during the easy times, when everything flowed effortlessly? Or was it when things got hard, when you were tested, when you were forced to reach deep inside yourself for answers? More often than not, it's the struggle that sculpts us, the fire that forges the steel. The Stoics believed that adversity was not to be feared, but embraced. Epictetus, born into slavery, wrote, "Difficulties show a person's character. In ease and comfort, anyone can appear generous and strong. But when circumstances turn against us, we reveal who we truly are. Hardship is not the enemy. It is the mirror. It reflects your current level of resilience and asks whether you're ready to level up." Let's be clear. Stoicism doesn't encourage suffering for the sake of suffering. It doesn't ask you to enjoy pain. Rather, it invites you to reframe your perception of it. When something goes wrong, the Stoic doesn't say, "Why me?" Instead, they ask, "What is this teaching me? How can I use this?" The energy you might have spent complaining or feeling victimized is redirected into curiosity and strength. This mindset shift, from resistance to acceptance, from fear to openness, changes everything. Suddenly, failure becomes feedback. Rejection becomes redirection. Loss becomes a chance to let go of what was never truly yours and open space for something better. Even physical pain or illness, from a Stoic perspective, is a lesson. It teaches us not to take our health for granted. It reminds us of the fragility of life and the importance of living fully now. It offers a chance to cultivate endurance, to train our mind not to be ruled by the body, and to remain calm even in discomfort. Of course, none of this is easy. It takes practice. But like any skill, seeing challenges as teachers becomes more natural over time. Each time you respond to adversity with awareness and strength, you reinforce the habit. Each time you ask, "What can I learn from this?" instead of, "Why is this happening to me?" you build mental toughness and emotional resilience. And something magical happens when you consistently do this. You start to fear life less. You no longer dread change or uncertainty because you know that whatever comes, you'll meet it with wisdom. You trust yourself. You become anti-fragile, not just enduring chaos, but growing stronger because of it. Remember, you're not alone. Every human being who has ever lived has faced pain, loss, disappointment, and fear. But not everyone uses it. The Stoic path is one of transformation, not in avoiding adversity, but in alchemizing it, turning the obstacle into the way. So the next time life throws you a curveball, take a breath. Don't react right away. Instead, get still and ask the Stoic's question, "What is this teaching me?" Then listen and grow. 4. Choose gratitude, especially in hard times. It's easy to feel grateful when life is smooth, when the sun is shining, your health is strong, and everything is going according to plan. But Stoicism asks something deeper of you, to choose gratitude especially when life is hard, when nothing seems to be going right, when you're tired, uncertain, or afraid. Why? Because that's where real strength lives. Anyone can smile in the light, but to keep your heart open in the dark, that's the mark of true inner peace. The Stoics believed that gratitude was not just a mood, but a discipline. Seneca, one of Rome's most famous Stoics, said, "We should try to be grateful not only for what is easy, but for what is difficult." Why? Because even suffering carries gifts if you're willing to look for them. Consider a painful experience, maybe a loss, a heartbreak, a betrayal. At the time, it may have felt like the end. But now, looking back, what did it give you? Maybe you found out who your true friends were. Maybe it taught you self-respect. Maybe it forced you to grow in a way comfort never could. This is a quiet power of gratitude. It transforms your inner world. It helps you find peace within, even when everything outside feels chaotic. When you train your mind to search for the lesson, the insight, the silver lining, you gain power over your perception. You're no longer a slave to external events. Gratitude also has a grounding effect. In hard times, it's easy to become consumed by what's missing, what you don't have, what's gone wrong. But when you pause to appreciate even one small thing, a deep breath, a kind word, a moment of silence, you shift from scarcity to abundance, from panic to peace. There's science to back this up, too. Studies show that regularly practicing gratitude reduces stress, improves sleep, and boosts emotional well-being. But the Stoics didn't need a study to know that. They lived it. They practiced it daily, in good times and bad. Marcus Aurelius wrote in his journal each morning, not just as a leader of Rome, but as a man trying to remain steady amid turmoil. His notes often reflected on what he had, what he could learn, and what mattered most. This daily reflection, part gratitude, part meditation, helped him stay centered even when the world around him was falling apart. So how do you start? You don't need to write a long list every day, though that helps. Sometimes it's enough to ask yourself, what can I be grateful for right now? Even if it's small, especially if it's small. A warm drink, the sound of rain, the fact that you're alive, breathing, and capable of change. Gratitude doesn't ignore pain. It coexists with it. You can be grieving and grateful, struggling and thankful. In fact, learning to hold both is one of the most powerful human skills. Choosing gratitude in hard times is an act of rebellion. It says, the world may shake, but I won't be shaken. I will find beauty here. It's not naive, it's courageous. It's how you build inner freedom, regardless of what's happening outside you. And when you practice this often enough, something incredible happens. Gratitude becomes your default state, not forced, not fake, but real. You begin to see life not as something to endure, but something to marvel at, even when it's messy, even when it's hard. In the end, gratitude doesn't change what happens to you. It changes how you see what happens. And that, the Stoics would say, is everything. 5. Be present, not perfect. The present moment is your anchor. In a world that constantly pulls your attention in every direction, notifications buzzing, memories replaying, worries swirling, it's easy to feel like you're being dragged by invisible currents. The Stoics remind us, return to now. When you're stuck in the past or fearing the future, anxiety tightens its grip. But when you return to the present, something shifts. A clarity, a calm, a sense of control reappears. This is not some abstract spiritual advice. It's a psychological truth and a Stoic principle. Marcus Aurelius wrote, confine yourself to the present. He knew that the mind is a wanderer, easily swept away by regret or speculation. But the present is solid ground. The present is the only place you can act. It's the only moment you can truly live. The past is done, etched in stone, unchangeable. The future? It's a mirage, always ahead of you, never fully real until it becomes now. And yet, how much of our lives do we spend outside of the moment we're actually in? We replay past conversations, wondering if we said the right thing. We worry about what might happen next week, next year, or even tomorrow. This scattered way of thinking leaves us exhausted, unfocused, and reactive. The Stoic solution is simple but powerful. Be here. Be now. Mindfulness isn't a trendy buzzword. It's an ancient tool for sanity. Epictetus said, it is impossible for a man to learn what he thinks he already knows. When we're distracted, we don't see clearly. When we're present, we notice everything. The way the sunlight lands, the sound of your own breath, the quiet strength in a moment of stillness. When you stop trying to be perfect, when you stop chasing some imagined version of who you should be, you find something far more valuable, peace. Perfection is an illusion. It doesn't exist. But presence? That's real, and it's enough. Being present also changes the way we face challenges. Instead of catastrophizing the future or stewing over the past, we can meet problems with focused awareness. We can ask, what is needed right now? Not what could go wrong next week. Not what should have happened last year. Just what's in front of me. You don't need to control everything. You just need to control your attention. The rest follows. So take a breath. Let go of the mental noise. This moment, right here, is where your power lives. Don't miss it chasing an ideal that doesn't exist. 6. Stand firm in your values. When the world is chaotic, your values become your compass. Storms will come, social pressures, shifting opinions, internal doubts, but values give you direction. The Stoics didn't chase popularity or wealth. They pursued virtue, not because it was easy, but because it was right. They believed that character, who you are when no one is watching, matters more than status, success, or recognition. Virtue for them wasn't an abstract theory. It was lived. Honesty, courage, humility, justice. These were not optional ideas. They were the foundation of a meaningful life. When you live according to your values, you become unshakable, not immune to pain or failure, but centered. You gain something rare, integrity. And integrity isn't about being perfect. It's about being consistent with what you truly believe, even when it's hard. Seneca wrote, "No man is more unhappy than he who never faces adversity, for he is not permitted to prove himself." Challenges don't threaten your values. They reveal them. It's easy to say you believe in honesty when the stakes are low, but will you speak the truth when it costs you? Will you act with courage when fear rises? Will you do what's right when no one applauds? The world today often rewards the opposite. Flash over depth, convenience over commitment, image over truth. But Stoicism calls us back to what endures. Values are not trends. They are anchors. And the beautiful thing is, you don't have to convince others of your values. You just have to live them. Quietly, steadily, repeatedly. Your actions will speak louder than any argument. When life gets confusing, your values simplify things. When you're pulled in different directions, your principles clarify your path. Ask yourself, what do I stand for? What kind of person do I want to be, regardless of the outcome? If your answer is rooted in virtue, then you've already won. Because no external event, not failure, not rejection, not loss, can take that away from you. So stand firm. The world may waver, but you don't have to. 7. Accept reality and move forward. Acceptance doesn't mean giving up. It means seeing clearly. Life is unpredictable. People will let you down. Plans will fall apart. Illness, loss, conflict, they're all part of the human experience. The Stoics knew this, and instead of pretending life should be easy or fair, they face it head-on. Epictetus said, "It is not things themselves that disturb us, but our opinions about them." In other words, it's our resistance to what happens, not the events themselves, that creates suffering. You can't control everything, but you can choose your response. And that starts with acceptance. Acceptance doesn't mean you like what happened. It doesn't mean you don't feel pain. It means you stop fighting reality. You stop saying, this shouldn't be happening. You accept what is, so you can decide what now. Resisting reality keeps you stuck. You relive what went wrong. You stew in disappointment. You build resentment. But when you accept, you create space. Space to act. Space to breathe. Space to heal. This doesn't mean becoming passive or indifferent. Quite the opposite. Stoic acceptance is active. It's the foundation of forward motion. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself, the impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. Obstacles are not the end. They're the beginning. Let's say a plan fails. The Stoic doesn't spiral into frustration. They adjust. They ask, what can I still do? When someone betrays them, they don't seek revenge. They reflect. They learn. When illness strikes, they don't curse fate. They care for themselves and keep living as fully as they can. Acceptance frees you to focus on what's still within your power. Sometimes the hardest thing to accept is that we're not in control. But here's the paradox. Once you stop trying to control what you can't, you gain control over what truly matters. Your thoughts, your choices, your character. And that's where freedom lives. Not in manipulating circumstances, but in mastering your response. So when life knocks you down, and it will, don't waste energy wishing things were different. Use that energy to adapt, accept reality, and then move forward with strength. Life is unpredictable, but you don't have to be. Through the lens of Stoicism, you can learn to remain calm. Not because life is easy, but because you've trained your mind and spirit to rise above the noise. Remember, control what you can, accept what you can't, and keep moving forward with purpose. If this message spoke to you, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more insights to help you grow. Until next time, stay calm, stay grounded, and stay true